It is time to expand minds through movies, TV, sports, and flicks. It is time to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. It is time for the Captain Talks Flicks.
The Captain Talk Flicks.
Welcome to the Captain Talk Flicks podcast. I'm your host, Captain Cortez, aka Mr. Love, and this is where we talk flicks. And ladies and gentlemen, this past week, I went back to Langley and do some paperwork. Had to run some knocks. We're overseas doing stuff. Had to analyze data, because I'm also a data analyst. I'm a case officer. I run knocks. I do so much. I'm actually a chief of station too. I'm also part of the kinetic paramilitary wing. I fly drones. I do every job they have there. I really don't. But I did get to see the TV show, The Agency. Let me get to that. First couple things. I want to give a big shout out to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Again, we got some plays from you again. I appreciate you guys' gratitude. Now, Ann Arbor, I was almost in your town this week. Me and Renee LA, we're about to go through there, hang out at the mall, eat some food, go to Pinball Pete's. We're so close. Something came up, we couldn't go, but next month, we will be in your wonderful city. So yeah, I can't wait to go there. And additionally, this episode is brought to you by the song called Keep Going. So the song Keep Going is by me, Chick Cortez, over electronics and beats. It's basically about what it says, just to keep going. The words, the raps are geared to maybe keep us going, to keep moving forward, to keep doing what we gotta do. I know, bro. Sometimes days are hard and you want to quit. We will not. If you've been part of this community for a long time, you know we don't quit, we keep going. So when you hear the song called Keep Going, I'll put it below. Check it out. Now, let's get on the podcast. Yeah, like I said, I had to go back to Langley and file paperwork and analyze data, look at maps and run knocks and fly drones and all types of stuff. Like I said, I didn't really do that. But I did go back to the Agency TV show. Now, real quick, I didn't realize they dropped all the episodes in one day. So when I watched the last episode, I could have watched everything. Now last year they staggered the releases each week. This they just talked about one time. Now real quick before I get into the show. I was online, some of the groups I belong to, and just see what the chatter was about the agency. Now, some of the people in these groups say that the Bureau, which is the French version, is so good like to not mess with the agency. Now I will say this is true. The Bureau was so well done that to compare the agency to the Bureau, it's like, you mean? But let me go ahead and tell you a little something else. So when I look at like the comic book movies or things like that, when you try to compare the comic book to the movie, a lot of times the movies do fail. So a lot of times these movies based on comic books or graphic novels or books in general, a lot of times when you compare it with the book, they just don't live up to the hype a lot of times. So the way I look at these things is that the movies, the TV shows, whatever it is just separate from the comic. And don't look for, in my opinion, to match what you got there. A lot of times these are masterpieces that just cannot be replicated. This is a whole new version thing, and leave it be, look at it like that. And if you have that lens, I feel you might enjoy the agency more. So far, that being said, I think it's great. I think it's better than the first season actually. There's on this mole hunt, the conflict between Martian of, he accepts and realizes like, bro, I know I'm violating everything I'm not supposed to do. He's betraying his country, he's betraying his friends, he's betraying the oath he took and they take oath. He betrayed everything. And he actually says in some letter, he says, I know it, I don't even care. And he said he'd do it all over again. Because like I said last episode, for the power of love, bro. Like he's so in love, he would do it over and over again. Yeah, so we're still on the arc. They're still running the lady over in Iran to try to get access to some dudes in Iran. And they're still trying to get the dude Viking. They got all these active operations going at the same time. We get to see all of them. And also all the drama at the agency. So I'm going to go ahead and get into things about this episode I like. There's tons of them. So I choose from. I probably won't get into them all. I'm going to start with this though. I'm going to talk about the tech. Now there's a scene in the episode where this dude's going to go to some military base so he can talk to some lady so he get access to the Viking dude who's part of the terrorist organization overseas, right? So they want to get access to him. So when they send him over there, they give him this hat. It looks like a regular hat you see at the store. But in the episode, they say, well, there's a camera in there. Look at this camera. And I guess the camera in the episode supposedly is the size of like a speck of dirt. We're talking super, super tiny. I imagine that this technology really exists. And I would imagine probably they do have access to that, to these spy organizations globally. But to have a camera that small, it's like just mind blowing. And you couldn't even, there's no way you could see that. And they're also using the bone density technology so you can hear stuff. And that's what they're using that tech in this hat. But the hat looks like a regular hat, and it's phenomenal. I wouldn't mind having one, actually. But yeah, so they had that tech. And I think where this is kind of on par with the original bureau in France is that you saw a lot of the tradecraft and tech, the modern stuff they were using, and how they would go ahead and do different things with the digital age. And before I saw the bureau, most of the things I had watched that took place way back today. There was like no modern spy show that really dived into the technology and tradecraft of how things were being done. Like, I think the last one I saw, like, Facebook didn't exist, Twitter didn't exist, anything didn't exist. And so the bureau approached how they dealt with social media and all that, when the other ones I watched did not. Now, there might be some shows that did exist that did, but I haven't seen them. Like, you talk about MF5, that was like in 99, they didn't have smartphones. Talk about the Americans was set in the 70s. So all the shows out, you talk about the Sandbaggers, were like 70s as well. So a lot of the great shows I've seen just never took place in the modern age and show the modern tech and modern tradecraft. Now, this particular episode does that. So like that hat with the fancy, camera. And it's just, probably true. It probably is true. So I thought that's kind of interesting. Now, that kind of flow with that same dude was sent over there to, to talk to some lady, right? To the cover, going over there, posing as some kind of military medical professional. And when he gets over there, honestly, he does look out of place. He's riding over this lady, as one of his, coworkers, whatever. And she just flat out tells him, like, bro, you don't know about this world. These are broke people. These are real Americans, whatever. You're some Oxford, uppity type dude. You know what I mean? You don't know that world. Just trying to school him. And when he walks in, you kind of can see that a little bit. To bring that to reality, you can tell a lot of times when someone just doesn't really fit in the space, not really been there. As someone that's been on the ground in the cities, in the lower classes, I hate to use the term classes, I think it's all BS, but we'll just say that because that's what people say. The lower end of the classes, there's certain things and beliefs and ideas and language and habits that people make that you just wouldn't see elsewhere. And the vice versa, up in those upper classes, people who have money, it's different as well. Kind of the groups you're in, there's certain customs and actions and language that they say and do and don't. And so, like, knowing those things or not knowing those things really determine if you can blend in or not. So in the world of espionage, this is my understanding or my perspective, being able to blend in with a group is be able to look the part, take on the mannerisms, be comfortable, know things, know the colloquial language, know the customs, know what they drink. In the episode, he tells Matt to drink a PBR, which is a Pabst Blue Ribbon, right? Now, being in the city, being a young man, my family drank those all days back in the day. Back in the 80s, they were crushing those Pabst Blue Ribbon, right? They had cases of them. I've been really aware of them. It's the poor man's drink. But they had to tell him that. He literally had to tell the guy to do that, right? And that's just something you just know from living it. But that was interesting that, just to see that. But now also, too, he did share some information, his goals to get contact with his lady. So she kind of, contacted him back. Now, despite his not very skillful way of doing that, she still called back. So, and that's going to lead me to what I'm saying next. I think sometimes those individuals, whether you talk about the spy world or just the world in general, they just need the information, and it's not really how they get it. She had a need. And, you could see by that there's a scene where she saw their mom, and you could tell she just wanted to be out of there. And, they threw her lifeline. Now, he might have seen da-da-da, but, the lifeline was thrown. And she wants out, so she called the number, right? When you're in a situation where there's pressure, you're uncomfortable, you're scared, or blah, blah, whatever you want to say, and someone throws you a lifeline, you don't know the person, they're from outside, but man, I'm tired of this world, I'm tired of this space, I'm tired of all this, I'm gonna go for it. Now, in my walking everyday life, I do like to have individuals I talk to that are outside of my sphere, my circles. Not because I'm trying to escape, but talking to people, I get like an outside perspective that's different than what I'm in. They're not in the fishbowl. But I'm not gonna go join them and run away with them. I'm not gonna do that. I like where I'm at. It has its ups and downs, but you know what I'm saying? So it's not always bad, but she looks like she just wants out whatever she's in. And so she called them up. Yes, so that went down. There's a bunch of other things I want to talk about, but there's one thing I want to talk about as well. So in the episode, they have Gremlin over in Iran trying to get access to some, scientist or somebody of some kind of importance. It's important to the agency. So anyway, she's over there. She's currently getting ran by, one handler. And there's some things that go on behind the scenes that with the handlers, the handler handling Gremlin. She's hooking up some dude. They think it's inappropriate, whatever, but I don't know. Anyways, the main thing is that she's the handler for Gremlin. And they go ahead and they switch her up with Martian. The Martian wants in there, to help, but there's also some other reasons because what he's doing, so he wants in there as well. But my main question on that is, I've read tons of spy books. I've watched tons of shows. I have, non-fiction books, fiction books, podcasts, whatever. And I'm not really sure if that's true to life or not. I do not know. So I don't know if once you have an asset somewhere, if they change handlers regularly. There's been a couple shows where they did that, but I think they did it because something happened to the person running them. I don't know if they just periodically, switch them out or not. It seems like that wouldn't be the way to go. But maybe it's like baseball. The pitcher's not doing well, they switch them out. So in this particular episode of The Agency, Martian's saying she's not doing well. It's in perspective of how to do it, and then they get her out of there, right? This may be true life. I don't know. It does seem like it makes sense, but at the same time, it seems like it wouldn't make sense. But also too, if you're undercover for a decade, maybe they have to be. They have no choice. There's just no way one human could do it the whole time, be their handler. It's a very good question. And I've not really encountered that in my readings or anything I've looked at. So it'll be interesting to hear some, real spies or real people in the space, talk about that. So anyways, this show raises some good questions for me, things I hadn't thought about before, so I do like it. I do like Fassbender though. I thought he was great in Black Bag. He's great in X-Men. He's done a lot of things I really like. And I think he does play the spy well. He looks the part, he plays well. So I think the show is phenomenal. Yeah, and of course, I'll say the Bureau's better. This is true. I've been saying this for years. But it's not that bad. It's pretty good. I do like it. And it's getting better. There's some scenes in there. As someone has been reading for so long and going to this rabbit hole. I feel that's true. I've heard real guys say those very things. So these are from experts in the field, people that lived it. So I feel that it does have enough realness to it for my taste. But some of the people that we're talking about that watch this were people that really lived it for real. I'd never lived it. But they were saying in the group I'm in, they're like, yeah, it's cool. People may not like it, but we're here, we're all fans, and people have their different likes. And there's no judgment like that, right? So some people might like it, some people not. I don't know. Now, one last thing I want to say as well before I take off. Now, in the sci-fi fandoms, it can get brutal, right? We're talking Star Wars, Star Trek. There can be some crap talking, all these kind of things about these shows. Now, in the spy space, with this kind of thing, I've not really heard anyone talk that way yet or seen that. And maybe in this space, because the type of individuals that are into spy stuff, they have a different way of thinking and they don't do that much. That might be true. To want to learn or study or like the whole world, I think you have to be on some kind of different style of thinking. It is a very niche thing for someone to be into. And the fact that I like it, I'm into it, that anybody else actually likes it's amazing. And I've been listening to this podcast, Spybrary, over the years, periodically, not all the time because I'm so busy, but I've listened to him over the years. And he says his fan base keeps growing. I remember when we just started out, it was not as big a fan base, but it's grown. But it's still not like Joe Rogan levels because I think, this is a niche space. But it's interesting that people out there that they're into these things. But and I'll say this too, it does seem to be more spy-related things coming out in the media and all these things. The James Bond game just dropped. So I don't know, maybe espionage about to go mainstream. And I would imagine the people that really live it probably don't want that. Don't give the game away, bro. You could give all the secrets and trade away. They might not like my podcast. Bro, you say too much. Bro, you know a little too much. And you say a little too much. You give too much game away. You might want to slow it down, bro. I don't know. No one's ever told me that, so I think I'm good. So anyways, thanks for listening. I appreciate you guys. And until next time, Martini, shaken not stirred, James Bond. Till next time, see you out the peace.
The Captain Talks.